was a muggy September morning. The air was thick, and the earth was soft under my shoes. I was closing in on the last mile of a 6-mile slog through the Forest Meadows Trail outside of Tallahassee, Florida. Every breath and every step was exhausting. Then out of nowhere, an older, shirtless man caught up to me and said something that seemed simple, but became monumental. "Keep going," he said. So I kept up with him, and we finished the trail loop. Every few steps, he encouraged me to go a little further. Before we went our separate ways, he said something I'll never forget. "Always remember, repetitive forward motion." Repetitive forward motion. Now, I don't know this man, and I'll probably never see him again. And since he had a white beard, I'm assuming he went back to the North Pole. Yes, this is a TED Talk about running with Santa Claus. Okay, not really. But that became a defining moment. You see, he didn't know who I was or why I was running. He didn't know that I had lost 130 pounds. He didn't know that I was training for my first half marathon. He didn't know that I woke up that morning dreading that awful run. All he knew is that we were on the same path, trying to reach the same finish line. That story, and ultimately that run, are part of a much larger story. You see, my weight was always an issue. I was bullied as a kid, I ate my feelings, and I always thought I would spend the rest of my life being obese. But when it comes to losing weight or accomplishing any major goal in one's life, people tend to forget to utilize their own strengths, be it their creativity, tenacity, or yes, even humor. For me, that passion and strength was social media. Even in 2010, I was fascinated by the connections social media created in my own life. It was a space to be bold in this authentic version of myself while being incredibly open. It also helped that I was a self-professed oversharer. In fact, it's taken me everything I have right now not to take a selfie. I know it said no devices, but that's okay. Well, this is happening. Okay, here we go. There we go. Once I compounded my passion and strength for social media towards becoming this healthier version of myself, that's when I started to succeed at this whole weight loss thing. A few years ago, I started a blog called The Photographing Fat Kid. I had written some random posts on it about Taco Bell sauce packets and things like that. But I decided that would be the best place for me to share my story and to keep me accountable. From then on, I decided that my brand identity was to be a weight loser. Now, if you had told me that I would start this journey at the beginning of graduate school as a probationary student who should have spent most of his time studying instead of going to the gym, I would have laughed and eaten a cake in your face. But that was the time that it worked, because while on the outset it didn't seem like the right time, had I waited for the right time, I'd still be waiting. Now, your goal may be something completely different, like learning a new language, climbing Mount Rainier, or starting your own cat photography business called Mr. Whisker's Photo Lab. But when you go after it with repetitive forward motion, it becomes that itch you can't scratch. It envelops you. Soon, every facet of your life becomes fixated on that goal. So today I want to share some of the tips I've learned throughout my own journey that will help you move you towards your goal. The first is find your peeps. So it was no secret that I wanted to lose weight. So when I opened myself up to my friends that I was about to go on this journey, I asked them to join with me. From that first post, it was amazing how many people came out of the woodwork to tell me, we got this. Like friends from second grade who messaged me with support, to friends of friends who reached out with their own weight loss stories and their own low-calorie recipes. And of course, my amazing wife, Megan, who's been there every step of the way. After I started blogging for a few months, I realized that there were hundreds of other social media folks and bloggers who were on their own journey towards a healthier life, each with their own strengths and struggles. It helped me realize that I wasn't the only one in the world trying to lose weight. I even started going to conferences where I met some of these digital friends, some who were there from the very beginning. When I moved to Seattle in 2015, I was worried about losing my support. I was moving to a place where people didn't know the Nathan that weighed 357 pounds. But my journey was at a new stage. Now, not only do I get support from my friends across the globe online, I get support locally from my friends at my CrossFit gym and my amazing Saturday morning Weight Watchers meeting. People are ready to support you. Sometimes you just have to look around. The next is make your goal part of your brand. I always felt like my identity was tied to my weight. Sure, I was outgoing and funny-ish, but I always felt like people saw what was on the outside first. So once I made this brand identity shift towards becoming this healthier version of myself, my peeps and my community were ready to buy into my rebrand. Once I made that shift, these random instances, like the runner in Tallahassee, became guiding lights throughout my journey, encouraging me to keep going. It only further increased this shift I made in my life. Once I opened my mind to that, opportunities for success were everywhere I turned. Through it all, I try to stay as transparent as I can. Not only is that what people respond to, it's what keeps you grounded as you move towards your goal. Finally, it's progress, not perfection. Now, I'm not at my goal weight. In fact, I'm 65-ish pounds away from being out of the obese weight range. And that's okay. I'll keep fighting. Because since I've started this journey in 2010, I've moved across the country, I've had 6 different amazing jobs, and I've had, well, multiple comments from trolls online, but we're not going to talk about them today. Contrary to popular belief, life goes on even when you're hyper-focused on your goals. Here's a graph of my weight loss, and as you can see, it looks kind of like a check mark. And again, that's okay, because since I've started this journey, not only have I advanced my career, I accomplished another major life goal, moving to the fantastically amazing Pacific Northwest. These goals increased my confidence to be bold, take risks, and not be afraid of failure. Goals aren't meant to be done with perfection. Obstacles are bound to happen. In those moments, don't be afraid to give yourself a dose of grace. Sometimes that's where your best ideas begin to blossom. We all have a goal. This idea the size of a mustard seed buried deep within our hearts right now. I want you to think about your own goal. This idea that might not make sense to anyone else, but it makes sense to you. Now ask yourself, how will I cultivate this goal? What can I do to nurture it? What other strengths and passions in my life can I utilize to make this goal a reality? Because whether you know it or not, this could be a critical moment in your life. Your own journey won't be perfect, but that's how you grow. So just remember, when it seems impossible, rethink it. When you reach a roadblock, break through it. When you get tired, think about repetitive forward motion and keep moving forward. Thank you.